time. I want you to cast your mind back to the last time that you had a coffee experience that was exactly as the barista described. Now, we all know how good moments like this feel. You know why they feel so good? Because of trust. Every time we create an expectation, we're making a promise. When we deliver upon the expectation, we're keeping that promise. This builds trust in any relationship. Now, I know you all love specialty coffee, and if we want to see this industry thrive, we need trust. Trust allows us to connect specialty coffee to the cafe customer. And if we want to keep them there, we need them to be engaged, learning and understanding more about coffee quality. In order for a customer to really appreciate coffee quality, there has to be an understanding of the decisions made by the barista and how these reflect the passion and the hard work of both producer, roaster, and how this all translates to the final experience in the cup. Now, over the past months leading up into this routine, I've explored every variable I can imagine, and the decisions that I've made will be the focus of the next 15 minutes. Now, all the key information is on the placemats in front of you, so sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Starting with the coffee. For all 3 courses, you'll be drinking an anaerobic natural sidra produced by Nestor Lasso on his farm, El Diviso, in the region of Huila, Colombia. Now today, I'll be highlighting 4 key decisions, 2 represented on the signature drink box to your right, and 2 on the signature drink box to your left. Now, my goal in sharing these decisions and their impact is building layers of trust. Together, over the next 15 minutes, we're going to be building layers of your signature drink, linking these key decisions made to the ingredients used, to the flavors that you'll experience in the cup. Now, I've purposefully split the signature drink into 2 components because we'll be highlighting different elements of El Diviso and we'll bring them together later on. Now, just as I'm asking you to trust in me, I've specifically chosen to work with Nestor because I trust in him, his experience as a producer, and the decisions that he's made that have better allowed me to deliver upon my promise in each course. So our first key decision is Nestor's, to ferment this coffee for 80 hours anaerobically. Now, this led to higher concentrations of organic acids, bigger, definable flavors, which I find directly improves the accuracy of flavor for your espresso course. So please slide down to the signature drink section of your score sheet. We're going to represent this by adding 5 grams of lacto-fermented passion fruit. Now, I prepared this by combining 1 part passion fruit with 1% salt and fermenting for 5 days at room temperature. I chose passion fruit because it has a vibrant citric acidity, and in your signature course, this is going to create a new flavor note of plum, if you'll please write that down. So now turning your attention to the espresso course. In your espresso, you'll experience flavor notes of blackberry, purple grape, and red wine, reminiscent of a Pinot Noir. The tactile will be medium in weight. It'll have a juicy texture and a long, lingering red wine tannin finish. Now, flavor calls are a key component of trust. If something happens to my extraction, the experience won't match the expectations. So for this reason, I've chosen to use the Weiss distribution technique, which is our second key decision. So the needles of this Weiss tool are spaced, so they cover the entire surface area of the basket with 1 spin of this handle. With multiple spins, the coffee grinds redistribute themselves evenly from top to bottom and side to side. Now, all of this leads to a more even and dependable extraction, so that I know that that flavor note of blackberry is both in the cup and it tastes delicious. So please slide down to the signature drink section of your score sheet. We're going to represent this decision by adding 5 grams of Colombian honey produced by the bees on the farm. Now, I've chosen this honey because it has a complexity that reminds me of El Diviso. And in your signature drink, that's going to create a balancing sweetness and a flavor note of sultana. Or depending on where you're from, golden raisin. Now on the placemat in front of you, you'll see an aroma disc. When I serve you the espresso, please assess the crema and place the disc directly on top of the cup. We're going to let your espresso cool to 50 degrees because that's really going to highlight that flavor note of blackberry. And in the meantime, the aroma disc is going to capture all of those volatile aromatics in the espresso, giving more prominence to the flavor notes I've just given you. Now, whilst these are extracting, I'd like to introduce the third key decision. In order to refine those beautiful red wine tannins that you're about to taste, my roaster and I finished the roast at an end temperature, just 2 degrees higher than first crack. Now, this resulted in lighter external colors, and from here, we extended the post-first crack development to 24%. So just assessing the crema and placing the purple aromatic disc on top. There we go. Thank you. Cheers. Here we go. Thank you. So I'll get you to slide down to the signature drink section once again of the score sheet, because we're going to add complexity to those tannins that we've achieved through this decision in roasting by adding 5 grams of cold brewed hibiscus tea. Now, I prepared this by combining 1 part hibiscus with 15 parts water and cold brewing for 12 hours at 4 degrees. I chose hibiscus because it has wine-like tannins reminiscent of your espresso, and in the signature drink, that's going to create a new flavor note of cranberry. Now, in a moment, I'll ask you to enjoy your espresso. When I do, please place the aroma disc next to the cup, stir your espresso placing the spoons in the silver cup, and enjoy across 2 sips. So go ahead and enjoy. So now, we're going to move on to your milk course. If you'll please write this down. In your milk course, you'll be tasting flavor notes of cherry, butterscotch, and milk chocolate. So now I'd like to share with you some of the decisions that I've made to deliver upon these descriptors in your milk course. So after a lot of fine tuning, I've found that by steaming the milk to 55 degrees and serving it at 50 degrees in the cup, we're going to really highlight that flavor note of cherry. And now, I am so excited to introduce to all of you the 4th key decision, milk cryodesiccation. So how it works is I've placed frozen milk into a chamber. I've reduced the pressure, creating a vacuum, whilst applying a gentle heat for 24 hours. Now, this combination of lower pressure and heat caused the frozen water in that milk to turn directly into a vapor leaving behind a powder of milk concentrated by 900%. Now I've left some of that in front of each of you if you'd like to have a look. There you go, Susie. From here, I've recombined 30 grams of this powder with 300 grams of the original milk I froze. This doubled the concentration of sugars, fats, and proteins in the milk, directly improving the taste experience, texture, whilst lifting up those beautiful flavors of El Diviso. There we go. Thank you. Enjoy. Now, I found this was best expressed in an extraction of 22.5 grams in, 38 grams out, in 28 seconds. And I've combined this with 90 grams of this delicious cryo-desiccated milk. There we go. Enjoy. Now, as you may have noticed, I've left these extractions to cool throughout the entire routine. I've done this to highlight the acidity in El Diviso, really helping to lift up that flavor note of cherry. All right, all yours. Enjoy. So inspired by the concentration of flavor and texture we achieved by cryo-desiccating the milk, please slide down to the signature drink section of your score sheet once again. We're going to be highlighting this with 7 grams of cryo-desiccated date syrup. Now, I prepared this by combining 1 part date with 1 part water and sous vide for 3 hours at 60 degrees, trying to highlight the natural flavors of this ingredient. Then, similar to your milk blend, I've cryo-desiccated this syrup, doubling the concentration of sweetness and flavor. Now, I chose date because it has notes of butterscotch that remind me of your milk course, and in your signature drink, this will create a flavor note of sweet toffee. So now, let's move on to the signature course. So my goal today was to build trust through the key decisions I've made to deliver upon my descriptors in each course. Now, today we've introduced 4 of those decisions, inspired by them, 4 ingredients, which have led to the flavor notes I've given you of plum, cranberry, sultana, and sweet toffee. Now here, I've got 1 double espresso of the milk extraction, the cryo-desiccated date syrup, and the cold brewed hibiscus tea. I've flushed it with nitrogen and held it on a hot water bath, and this is going to create a nectar-like texture in your signature drink. Over here, I've got 1 double espresso of the espresso extraction, the lacto-fermented passion fruit, and the Colombian honey. Now, I've been using this magnetic stirrer to mix the ingredients whilst aerating and heating the drink, and this is going to highlight sweetness and articulation. Now, just like your espresso course, I'll be serving this drink at a temperature of 50 degrees with an aromatic disc to give more prominence to the flavor notes I've just given you. I'll ask for you to wait until I call time before assessing this drink, and when I do, please remove the aromatic disc, swirl for 3 seconds, and enjoy across 3 sips. Now, as I said at the beginning, every cup of coffee we make is a promise. All my experience in this industry means nothing if I don't use it to create trust and to connect with people. So I hope that you all feel I've delivered upon my promises today and built a level of trust that has brought the 5 of us closer together. Because moments like this, right here, are so important for the progression of this amazing industry that we are all a part of. So please, go ahead and enjoy that drink time.